Today, a new game by who makes this? Vela Games. Vela
Yes.
Games. I had to look it up. But what's intrigued us? So there is a new type of game made by former Riot and EA veterans, as they say it, and it's called Evercore Heroes. It feels a little bit like a mix of an action RPG kind of isometric, so a la what's the game from Blizzard? Diablo. No, but it's got the Dota style. Like, it's definitely a Riot art style. That's for sure. Like, if you look at the art style to this game, it's definitely a Riot kind of Dota-y kind of art style to it. What intrigues me about this particular game, though, is that it is what they consider a competitive PvE experience. So they've coined the term MOCA. Multiplayer
by the way,
online
I like
co-op.
this idea.
No. That's what's intriguing to me. You are racing another team to do to basically like beat a boss. So there's 4 teams, 4 heroes per team, and you're trying to do a dungeon raid the fastest. And so which World of Warcraft does that. It's called the Race to World First. Every expansion that comes out. But this is on a smaller scale, right? And so there's a competitive angle to the game, but it is invariably PvE the whole time. So ideally, everybody's got to face the same dungeons, the same sort of things and stuff like that. I am loving the idea of this as a concept. You've had a chance to look at the game so far. We are trying to get into the beta as a team. What are your thoughts overall so far?
I mean, not aesthetically my favorite, but I understand the art style.
Yep.
I think it'll run really clean with that art style, so it'll look smooth and run clean. I like the idea. I love co-op, right?
Yep.
As much as I like you and I together have played a lot of Titanfall 2, and we were playing that dodgeball game for a while, which was a blast. Knockout City. I love the idea, and the trailer looks neat.
The gameplay looks good. I like the art style, frankly.
Again, I just think that's a matter of taste.
Yeah.
Again, I think it's neat.
I love this idea of the co-op game. I love the idea. So what I think is going to make this infinitely replayable in my mind is similar to, and this is where they're pulling in the Riot League of Legends type stuff, where the dungeons are all the same, but it's your team's choice of power-ups and things like that. So you get money for defeating the trash mobs essentially along the way. And you get gold and things like that. I think that is an in-game currency that you can spend to do power-ups for that run. And so it becomes a little bit of a strategic sort of thing of like, if I've got this hero, I need to be pulling in these kinds of, power-ups and stuff like that, and team composition and stuff like that. Now, I don't know if everybody can have the same team comp kind of thing, or if one team locks in this healer, then that healer is locked out from everybody else. They're certainly teasing 1, 2, 3 by 1, 2, 3. They're certainly teasing a lot of heroes on their page, which makes me think that there's a chance that, you might just get locked out of that and you have to figure out your team comp and stuff, which is a pretty interesting way to like play. And what's the combination between two characters, and can there be combos and things like that? So that's an interesting kind of gameplay mechanic to me.
It is, and very obviously they are angling for the esports community, right?
Yeah.
The League of Legends, Dota, and those are lucrative esports to do. I've got a couple of questions for them, and this to me is the thing, and I'm looking through the press releases and I can't find anything yet. have they said, and maybe chat knows, is this free to play?
They have not said yet, actually. I don't think. Let me look on their site again.
I just looked on their site and I don't see anything. So chat, correct me. I don't see anything. So again, former Riot and EA devs, sure. Here's my question: is it free to play? If it's free to play, we're obviously relying on microtransaction. Are those cosmetic only? If you're trying to hit that esports push, you can't make it pay to win.
Nope, cannot.
Right. So what's the monetization? How's it going to be supported?
It's got to be a skins thing, kind of like Overwatch. It's got to be.
Yeah. But again, is it like Dota? Right.
Dota is PvP though. Like there's trash mobs in between, but it's definitely PvP.
But it's free to play.
Yes. So is League of Legends, I think. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if this is a free to play. I'm curious how they're going to manage microtransactions and how they're going to monetize it.
Chat brings up an interesting one. It's like, isn't that the exact same format of that first Amazon shooter had? 2 teams trying to kill a boss or whatever. Now that you bring it up, yeah, it is kind of similar to that. I just don't think so. The problem with Amazon's game, and I want to call it, was it Calypso? What was the name of that game? Do they even list it? Is the question anymore? They got Lost Ark. Nope. They have fully not cared about that game. What game was it? Crucible. That was the one. So Crucible was one where, but that was PvP. Like the problem with Crucible is like you would land and you'd be in this arena almost in a way, and it was an arena as in like a Doom arena, like it's like a part of the world. But you could be killing each other on that one, and that was often the pain in the what was you had to kill the other person. It's not like Destiny's PvP where you can be sending people and over to the other side and things like that. Like there's little sort of mechanics for it. So I'm interested to see to what you're saying, the monetization, like how's that going to work, and what is that going to mean for the game kind of going forward. I got a feeling that with an art style like this, they probably have, I don't know, 100 skins on the backlog, I would imagine, that they're pulling together. So I think a lot of it just has to come down to does the game play well? Is it fast paced? If it's a fast paced kind of game, I think you might get some people who, love them some Diablo or some, League of Legends or something like that. And they're going to get in there and scrum it in and see where it goes,
And again, it looks like an interesting concept. I'm curious to see more. Hopefully we can get into the beta and stream some of it. I would love to do that on multiple channels. I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see what it does, right? How's their matching system going to work? Do you have to be partied up, or is there a good matching system?
Oh, I feel sure there's going to be solo play and stuff like that. Like it'll be a 4-stack no matter what,
but how good is the matching system? Like,
you're going to get you're going to get trash probably a lot of times. Let's be real about it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it, is voice chat going to be functional from minute one with the matching system? Because this is the kind of thing where if you don't have voice chat, you're screwed.
Yeah, no, I feel sure that they're going to do stuff like that. It's more of a question of how toxic is how toxic is the community going to be? Because League of Legends community is, and I started on that whole genre with Heroes of New Earth, which is by far, outside of COD, the absolute most toxic community on the planet. Even more than like Star Wars and other fandoms. Marvel. Yeah. Whew, child. So, it's gotten better with Dota and League of Legends a little bit, but not a ton. Like I won't touch those games because there's no user curve to it at all. So we'll see where that kind of goes. But this kind of got us thinking on the side. What games are you looking forward to coming out over the next couple of months? So we're into, squarely into Q4. You know, what games do we have coming out that you are excited for?
Honestly,
Yeah.
provided we don't get pushed back.
You're looking up everything, you know.
Gotham Knights, I think, looks interesting.
Yep. I'm excited for that one.
Gotham Knights looks interesting, and I'll take a look at that. Midnight Suns, if it doesn't get... I think Midnight Suns got pushed back into...
Did it get... No, I thought it was delayed once already.
It was, but I think they just pushed it back again. In theory, it's supposed to come out in December. That's the other one I'm really looking forward to. Aside from that, not much. A lot of the stuff that I was really looking forward to got pushed into 2023. And that was kind of one of the topics we talked about. I talked about with Michael last week, which is the, you know, is this kind of a result of, are we seeing a delayed reaction on all the COVID delays?
Yeah.
Which was my theory, was that, you know, we're seeing delayed reaction on there. Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion, which is the remake of Crisis Core, which was great. That's out December 13th.
So there is there's a few of them that are coming out that I think...
Not much for me.
There's a few of them for me that I think are coming out. Gotham Knights, I think, I've seen some gameplay footage. I've seen some streamers doing their thing with it. That looks like, if you like the Arkham series, that one's going to go well for you, I think. So long as it runs okay. It looks beautiful, and the combat system in the Arkham games was fantastic. So if they even have, like, you know, half of that system, we'll be fine. There are some things that they're trying with Modern Warfare 2 that if they pull it off, I will be willing to give it a shot. Because there's some Tarkov-style things that they're planning to do with that game that I've been playing a ton of Escape for Tarkov, this particular wipe, and I'm willing to give it a shot if they bring some of those in, because I do miss a good shooter, and Overwatch 2 right now ain't it, for many reasons. Or as I called it in the stream title from producing it the other week, Overwatch 1.5, because that's basically all it is. God of War Ragnarok is coming out. I'm not a biggest fan of the God of War series, but I do enjoy them for the cinematics. It's kind of like a Last of Us sort of thing. It's fun enough just to play through and see the story, or I could just go watch some friends play through and I'd be just as happy.
That's what I've done with all the God of War.
Yep. One for me that it's a day one play is World of Warcraft Dragonflight, because I feel like Blizzard, while I don't put up for that company, I do support the developers and the writers and those that are still there trying to make it work. That is going to be an interesting one because they have changed so much about the game going back into it. There's a lot of people that I've actually talked with at your store who, you know, your store has a guild as well, and a lot of people are very excited for that one. And for good reason. I think they might be going, you know, I think some of the toxicity, and this is knocking on wood, that the further things can happen and they can get rid of some of the bad apples that were causing so many problems at Blizzard. But I think some of the dead weight has been cut to the point to where they can actually go through and actually make some games that they care about again. And so I want to reward that kind of behavior, the good kind of behavior.
Yeah, for sure.
And play some Dragonflight with it. I won't do that for Overwatch because it's Overwatch, and even though it's free to play, I still can't, like, the dude cannot abide, you know? But the one that I am looking forward to the most is Warhammer 40K, Shooters, Blood, and Teeth.
When does that come out?
That comes out, I think, in late October, I want to say. You play orcs in Warhammer. It can't get much fucking better than that.
It comes out in 8 days.
So, like, it looks like a combination of, like, Castle Crashers and, like, an old school Contra kind of thing. Where you play, like, an orc commando, and you're going through and you're taking on, like, the Astra Militarum and, like, all this, like, it's insane. It looks stupid.
Very WoW.
Oh, very WoW.
It's I'm looking at the thing right now. It looks, This looks like actually like a fun one to stream.
Yes.
Because it looks like it would be one where you'd be like this. Like I'm watching them shoot a Lehman Russ right now. And there's a commissar sticking his head out of it. Like it's very. It doesn't take itself too seriously for Gork or Mork, right?
And that is when Warhammer is at its best, is when it is not taking itself too seriously. So I don't know. It's probably not going to be the most engaging game in the world. I worry a little bit about the monetization that comes along with it, but like
this looks like the kind of game that you could throw in for an hour. And actually, I've been looking for one of these games for a while. And Chad, if you have any suggestions, I love having a game in my library, or a couple games in my library that I can throw on for like half hour, 45 minutes, and then stop.
Yeah.
Right? Like, those are some of my, like, I always need one of those in my library. Because, there's those games you can play, but if you play, like, there's no point in even turning it on if you're going to play it for less than half an hour.
Yep.
Right? And then there's games where I can, like, 20 minutes.
Yep.
30 minutes. Fine. Cool. I'm killing some time till I go do something that I got to do today. I love having a game or two of those in my library. And this is what Shoot Us Blood and Teeth looks like to me.
And I cannot wait.
is I could play this for like an hour or half an hour and not miss anything.
Yeah. So if nothing changes, this is the other game that I am actually legitimately like, don't get me wrong, that's probably going to be a day one purchase for me because, again, to your exact point, it's not taking itself too seriously. It's a pick up and play game as far as I'm concerned. The one that I will probably sink my teeth into a lot, assuming that I am not on the road, is Warhammer 40k Darktide, though, because that is one that I have been waiting on for a long time. And
I am torn on Darktide.
I've been playing a lot of Vermintide again. We've picked it back up because they've produced a lot of additional content and new characters and stuff like that with it. And I like the formula. I think it's fun. It's a co-op game. That's the best thing about it. It's a co-op game that I can sit in with Grandpa Joe and Lance and others, and we can play for a night and feel like we've made some progress and we're good to go, and we're not out of it too much, So I'm looking forward to that. But why are you kind of torn on it? Because you're a big 40k guy as well.
I am. I have just never. I honestly have never played a 40k video game that's managed to hold my attention for very long. Mm-hmm. Like legit. Like I have a hard time finding one that I'm like, cool. Again, this one looks like one I could probably pick up for an hour and play and put away. Right now it's 30 November, $40.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Nope. I mean,
one of the interesting things about it for me is Jesper Kidd is doing the soundtrack to it. And he's done the soundtrack to so many amazing
He did a
things.
lot of the Assassin's Creed stuff.
He did do a lot of the Assassin's Creed stuff. Yeah, he's done a ton of he's just done a ton of like the best ones out there, really. Like you talk about Assassin's Creed, you talk about he did all of the stuff in Borderlands and Borderlands 2. Actually, I think he's done a lot in Forza as well. Like, dude's been all over the place with it. And I think he even did like Valhalla recently, AC Valhalla and stuff like that. So
the one that I actually like, the one that I would probably play, if it ever comes out, is Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader.
That's gonna be. I think that one's gonna be an interesting one. Yeah,
I would probably play that. I'm kind of curious about this Warhammer 40k Inquisitor game.
Mm-hmm. Those are all 2023 joints, I think, right? Or later.
Well,
right?
One of them comes out this year.
Supposedly? Or confirmed? Darktide, I know, is meant to come out this year, but...
Martyr... Complete Collection. There's a bunch of stuff coming out.
Yeah.
I've had a hard time finding a 40k game a video game that can hold my attention.
Well, I think we can have a whole episode on this. Maybe we'll even do it from your shop one night where like... we can talk about the lore of 40k and where it completely falls apart for me. And that's why I love the orcs, because there's no lore to be needed. You just gotta go in there and do the Schuster and get with the teeth and the blood and the wall.
Well, and from a GW perspective, the stuff that they produce, the art style for the orcs for the actual models is really, really fun.
Oh, yeah.
And actually, so that Shooter's Blood and Teeth, that's another thing that looking at the images and stuff, one of the things I like is that they seem to be holding to that aesthetic that GW has really developed for their orcs for 40K, which I absolutely love. And you and I have talked about this a bunch. I love the orcs aesthetic.
Yes.
In 40K, like I absolutely adore it.
They're my favorite. They're my favorite ones. I keep collecting, even though I haven't played them in forever. I keep collecting orc stuff because
They're fun.
I will forever paint them. You know, after I get rid of my purple people eaters that I'm doing for my Space Marines. But once I get past that particular one, I'm doing me some orkies.
I said absolutely adore the art style and the design style for the orcs. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, a lot of stuff I was looking forward to is 2023. Again, I think we're in the waning days of what were delays that happened because of COVID. We're now seeing, a year. And given the video game development cycle time, I think that's what we're seeing. I think that's why there's a lot of stuff that got pushed to next year.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of things I'm looking forward to, but a lot of it's not this year. Right.
Could be an interesting one if we take an early holiday in 2023.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see. I think 2023 is going to be bonkers for gaming.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see where it kind of goes. So.
Yeah.